What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today.
What's cracking, y'all? Welcome back to another reaction video from the Jonny Arnett universe. I've noticed Johnny's been experimenting with some, new kinds of playlists and kinds of videos he's been doing. So this one's just called A Must Experience. So I'm not really sure what it's about, but based on the thumbnail, it seems like there's a lot of players from a handful of players that played in that 2000s era. Reggie Miller's on the thumbnail. So Reggie came in, 1987? Played through the early to mid 2000s before he retired, something like that. So probably mid 2000s, because he was still on that Pacers team, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, when they were going up against that Detroit Pistons team. I was still in high school. But anyway, let's see what this is about. Not quite sure, but I don't know if he's talking about this era of basketball, like say an experience that you would have had to seen, or I don't know. Let's get into it. I'm curious. Jonny Arnett's been doing some great stuff, man. Let's go.
This video is a continuation of a series where I recommend games that you should watch in their fullness. If you're a basketball superfan like me, then you don't just watch highlights from iconic moments, but rather you make your popcorn and you get on your comfy couch and watch full-length NBA games from years past, as if they're classic movies. In this series, I'm recommending games that are well known and that young NBA fans should watch. But I'm also suggesting games that are lesser known that have somehow slipped through the cracks of the mainstream memory. As always, I'll be providing links to these games in the pinned comment, so that all you'll have to do is click and you're immediately off to viewing.
Nice.
As always, let me know your suggestions in the comment section below. Now without further ado, let's get into it. If you're like me and consider yourself a Kobe fan, then it's always worth watching the Lakers versus the Suns in Game 6 of the 2010 Western Conference Finals.
The shots Kobe Bryant was hitting in that fourth quarter were ridiculous. Best tough shot maker in the history of the league. Even Alvin Gentry, all he could do is slap him on the butt, man. Or I think Kobe slapped him on the butt. I can't remember.
Finals. So I gotta be real with you guys. I don't remember a time where Kobe was being put in the GOAT conversation as much as he was after this performance. It makes sense as he had 4 championship rings, was the leader of the defending champions, and was on the verge of winning his 5th title, equaling him to the legendary Magic Johnson. What the Mamba did on this night was truly jaw-dropping to witness, as he completely took over the game, hitting an array of iconic shots that only he could hit. After this performance, everyone, including the TNT telecast crew, were talking about his standing against Michael Jordan. If you're someone who believes Kobe belongs in that GOAT conversation, then this game is a great one for you to enjoy. If you want to witness what is literally one of the greatest series in NBA history, then I would check out any game from the 2009 first round between the Bulls and the Celtics. The defending champion Celtics were trying to prove that they were still contenders, despite the fact that they had lost Kevin Garnett for the remainder of the season. On the other hand, the Bulls were a decent 7th-seeded team, and despite the fact that they were underdogs, they saw an opportunity to achieve a massive upset. What ensued was arguably the greatest playoff series in NBA history, from the perspective of purely competitive basketball. The suspense was basically non-stop, as 5 out of the 7 games in the series were decided by only 1 possession. Definitely check out this one for all the beautiful drama.
Ben Gordon.
One of my favorite players of all time is the former Boston Celtics star Rajon Rondo. Personally, I think many people have forgotten just how elite he was towards the end of their title contending years. For a small stretch of time, he was entering the conversation of the best point guards in the NBA. And a perfect game to watch for an example of that would be Game 2 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals between his Celtics and the Miami Heat. That was a close and thrilling contest throughout, and the only reason Boston was competitive in the first place is because of how Rondo controlled the game in a variety of ways. He's not typically referred to as an NBA legend, but this was certainly a legendary performance. Next up is Game 5 of the 1986 Western Conference Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets. To me, this game was the perfect summary of 80s basketball. You had highly powered squads who were jam-packed with superstar talent. The game was extremely physical and even had several fights involving star players. And it was all capped off with an absolutely thrilling finish. One of the reasons this contest stood out to me is because of all of the bad blood between the superstar players, and the way these guys fought without fear of suspension during crucial moments of the biggest game of the season is something you will never see in the modern NBA. Definitely worth a watch. Next up is a pair of Christmas Day games, which I personally believe are the two greatest Christmas games of all time. The first was between the LA Lakers and the Miami Heat in 2004. In order to understand how special this contest was, you need to understand the context of the situation leading up to the event. It was right after Shaq and Kobe's notorious split in 2004. At the time, there was such bad blood between the two superstars that pretty much everyone was well aware of their beef. Their first regular season match against one another was so highly anticipated that it even had greater viewership than many NBA Finals games. When the game actually started, it didn't fail to live up to the hype. Kobe and Shaq had several chippy moments. The Mamba got ridiculously hot from the perimeter, and it all ended up coming down to the game's final shot. If you've seen this game before, then it's definitely worth a rewatch. But if you've never seen it before, then it's an absolute must-watch. The second Christmas Day game was an NBA championship rematch between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016. This was a huge measuring stick game, as it was between the two best teams in the league. The Warriors were looking for revenge after they blew a 3-1 lead in the 2016 finals. But this time, instead of a streaky shooting Harrison Barnes, they had an elite Kevin Durant. The Cleveland crowd was electric, and what ensued was a holiday classic, with an ending that is impossible to forget. Next is Game 1 of the 1995 Eastern Conference Semis between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. Back in the 90s, these two teams represented one of the fiercest rivalries in all of basketball. To this day, many people believe that Reggie Miller is a very overrated player, in the sense that he might not have the most accolades, and he doesn't have the most well-rounded stats. But one organization who knows very well that Miller is in fact not overrated is the New York Knicks, and this game is one of the major reasons why. This contest was extremely close and suspenseful, and towards the end, Miller provided a clutch finish for the ages that every basketball fan should be familiar with. Next is one of the greatest solo battles that I have ever witnessed, which came in Game 6 of the 2001 Eastern Conference Finals between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Facing elimination, the Milwaukee Stadium was a raucous atmosphere, and the Bucks responded to that energy accordingly. Leading the way for them was their superstar sniper, Ray Allen, who was absolutely unconscious from three-point distance. But the answer was up to the challenge, as Allen Iverson put on his own monstrous performance, hitting insanely difficult shots, while dealing with all kinds of physical punishment. Both players scored north of 40 points, and if you consider yourself a fan of either of these Allens, then this is a great game to watch in order to witness them at the height of their powers. So what do you guys think? What is a game that someone absolutely has to watch if they consider themselves a big basketball fan? I look forward to hearing your picks in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Johnny, appreciate you, my friend, for putting this beautiful content out. Yeah, I've seen the vast majority of those games and remember many of them very well. I also have, Johnny has a special place in my heart too, because he's Kobe fan, and you don't have a lot of, Kobe fans are very popular on YouTube. Jonny being one of them, and Dreamers Pro Sports. So whenever they, talk about Kobe stuff, I'm like, yeah, there we go. Let's get some more Kobe stuff in here. But definitely, I remember that Phoenix Suns game. Dude was icing everything. Of course, the first time Shaq and Kobe met, never forget that. It was in New Jersey on Christmas break. The Rondo game, I remember that. He was cooking the Miami Heat pretty much that whole series as well. The Allen Iverson game with Ray Allen that I just spoke about. Classic 7-game series. After the Philadelphia 76ers just came off another classic 7-game series against Vince Carter and the Toronto Raptors, which was an absolutely stellar series in its own right, no question about it. Reggie Miller's iconic fourth quarter. Definitely, I agree with Jonny. Some games worth looking into if you haven't watched them already. This is a cool series, and I like that he's doing this for people, because there's definitely some hidden gems, some games that have either been forgotten or just kind of went under the radar for some people, or they started watching basketball at a later time, so they might not be aware of some of these iconic games. But that's dope. If you can think of any games that you feel like you want to suggest for people to make sure you go watch that, because it's an experience that you should probably experience in your life, sound off in the comment section, please. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.